Well, hello Life Squad, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are all doing very well. My name is Cece, back again with another topic that we are going to give a little pondering upon, and it is about whether or not Thailand has more transgender women or ladyboys as compared to the Philippines. Now, if you can remember, maybe 3 months back I came out with a list of, I think it was top 20 signups of transgender women on the dating site, myladyboy.com, and it was given to me by the dating website itself. And on that list, Thailand came only third with 6.21% sign up on there. And then second came the United States with 9.64% sign up. And the first was the Philippines with more than half of the signups there, which was 50% or 50.39%, which is, well, it's more than half. I am a Filipina living in Bangkok, Thailand, so I know what most of you would be thinking if you are following transgender women or ladyboys in Thailand and Philippines, and you've been to both Thailand and Philippines. You would say, I think there are more transgender women or ladyboys in Thailand, and I see that with my own eyes. And probably some of you say, I've been to the Philippines, and I rarely see them, not as much as in Thailand. And I think there are several factors, and that's what we are going to be discussing today. Stay tuned. So to start off, I do not really think that the sign up figures on the dating site myladyboy.com is reflective of the real numbers or the real number of transgender women in those countries, Thailand, the United States, and the Philippines. However, I think the very first factor that affects the sign up rate on that website is language. And as you know, Americans speak English, and English is an official language in the Philippines. Our mother tongue is called Filipino, but English is an official language in the Philippines, and it is an official medium of instruction at schools. In Thailand, it is not widely spoken, and that, I think, is the number one factor why Thailand only came third. Because if you are on online dating, signing up itself would be a task if you do not speak English, and it would be much more difficult once you start talking to people on the internet, because the men on the website are from basically all over the world. However, when they go on there, when the men go on that platform, they're ready to speak English, however proficient or not they are at speaking or writing or using the language. In Thailand, though, like I've said, English is not widely spoken, and so signing up would be a real task, and when they start talking to the men, they would have real difficulty. I think Thailand has their own dating sites, and if that's the case, because it's more targeted towards Thai people, the men on there would at least maybe know a little bit of Thai, and so maybe there are more Thai transgender women logged in on there. The second one that I really believe that people think that there are more transgender women in Thailand as compared to the Philippines, because transgender women in Thailand are very visible. They're everywhere. It's easier for them to get jobs, regular jobs, in the supermarkets, in the offices, in the service industry. I was told, but please don't quote me on this, that although transgender women here can get regular jobs, it is still a little bit difficult for them to get promoted or get higher positions in companies. But at least, you know, they can work regular jobs. Whereas in the Philippines, it is really, really still backwards, in my opinion. Rarely would you see transgender women in the service industry, because most companies would not like a transgender woman representing the brand. And even I experienced it when I was wanting to work for a cosmetic company as a representative and a makeup artist and a sales associate. It was a high-end cosmetic brand, and they did require me to cut my hair short and present myself as a male person. And I remember how I felt that time. It was very difficult to take in, and simply put, it's just devastating for a young transgender woman who's just starting to get to know herself, and to say the least, it is an unforgettable experience. So yeah, then again, if you went to the Philippines, they're just not in those regular jobs. Oftentimes, like I mentioned in my vlog, where to find Filipina transgender women in the Philippines, you would see them in salons, coffee shops, or restaurants, or lounges close to call centers. You would also see them in hospitals, because after college, you know, most hospitals wouldn't really care how you present yourself, for as long as you carry yourself in accordance to your job. It's kind of difficult to see transgender in the Philippines, because they're just in specific jobs. They're working specific jobs wherein we are allowed to work. But that doesn't mean that we are less in number. We are just really concentrated in those kinds of jobs and areas. Another huge factor as to why people would think there are more transgender women in Thailand as compared to the Philippines is that they're visible in the way that they have transitioned almost completely. I mean, not with the lower surgery, but they look feminine because they have access to hormones and cosmetic procedures here in Thailand. And as many of you know, Thailand is a medical tourism and cosmetics surgery tourism hub, and has been for a long time, almost at par with Korea. And they're continuously improving in this country. And they have proper medical guidance when they take hormones, because there are just countless clinics and centers providing hormone replacement therapy to transgender women here. And so they have the opportunity to look like women. Whereas in the Philippines, there are not a lot of cosmetic surgery centers, and Filipinos don't really have access to hormone replacement therapy. Most Filipinos would do micro dosing and would not go under the supervision of medical professionals and doctors when they get into hormones, which is a very sad situation. I really feel for my transgender sisters in the Philippines, and I hope that in the future it will change, and we would open up more and improve and move forward and advance in this category. So that is one reason why people don't think there are many transgender in the Philippines, because they're stuck in between transition. They cannot transition fully. They do not look like women just as yet. Most of them would look like femboys, because, well, some of them would still have short hair because they're not allowed to grow their hair long at work or at school, or some of them would have long hair but they don't have access to hormones, so they would still have those masculine features, and or some of them would be on microdosing, so somehow a few would start to look a little bit feminine, but it's like in between transition. They look kind of feminine, but some people wouldn't say they look like transgender women or women. They still look more like androgynous. They look like their gender is blurred somehow, like a little bit of an in-between or kind of confusing look. But I think, growing up, why am I stuttering? And growing up in the Philippines, but having been living in Thailand for almost 6 years now, I can honestly say that, in my opinion, there are as much transgender women in the Philippines as in Thailand. Oh, one last factor would be some Filipino transgender women are very difficult to clock, and so they wouldn't be counted as transgender women by many people because they're basically not clockable, because not only do they look ultra feminine, but it's also because many Filipinos are able to speak in a very feminine way and have female sounding voice. So maybe that is why many foreigners would think, oh, there are not as much transgender women in the Philippines, because they don't see them as transgender women. They would often think they're females, born females, or cisgender women. And well, thank you so much for watching. I know that you had been missing me for 2 weeks or more. I just really felt a little bit under the weather for more than a week, and I also went on a holiday. I went to Pattaya and with my boyfriend, and we had a great time there. Just chill and relax, and we had a date on the rooftop bar. Was it Sheraton or the Hilton? I forgot, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful, amazing, lovely evening, and well, it was actually a little bit cold when I went there, and I realized that it's getting cooler in Thailand, and I think today or yesterday was 21 degrees, which the air conditioning is always almost at 25 degrees, so it's slightly cooler or colder than the air conditioning. So I had to cover up a little bit, and that is why today I am wearing just a regular skin tone tank top, and I have my linen shirt over, and well, I'm still wearing just shorts, jumpsuit. So yeah, this is what I'm wearing today, and I'll just keep it simple and relaxed. And I'm headed to the mall with my boyfriend. We gotta get badminton racket because we're playing badminton later. I already have mine, and we have to get his. And yeah, we're planning to really be sporty and athletic and active. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.